Hello and welcome to Sports Fan Entertainment, here to address some recent rumors surrounding the Tennessee Titans and my thoughts on some of these rumors. Let's begin with the big one, and I believe this came from, I want to say, Benjamin Albright, who reported that he's heard that one of the teams that might be interested in Lamar Jackson is the Tennessee Titans. Let's get into that one. And then we also have another rumor that the Tennessee Titans might be interested in trading for DeAndre Hopkins. Now, the most important thing that I want people to do, unless if you are an Olympic level athlete, swimmer named Michael Phelps, or you're a Guinness worldwide record holder for holding your breath, do not hold your breath when it comes to either one of these rumors. I said the same thing when the Derek Carr thing was trotted out there momentarily. I said basically the same thing for Derrick Henry. I did say the same thing for Byard. I thought there was real smoke when it came to Kevin Byard, and we'll see how that situation continues to develop. We haven't heard any real updates over the last week on that, very interestingly so, but the Derek Carr thing, that is the same level of BS that I think that we are talking about here. I just don't see either happening. Now, the one thing that I mentioned twice in two different videos, when I discussed the whole Kevin Byard refusing to take a pay cut thing, that the only reason for them to do this now is if they were trying to clear money for Lamar Jackson. And I still believe that would make the most sense, unless if we're just trying to potentially move Kevin Byard and or release him and or ask him to take a pay cut just because, in which case we're stupid. And, I discussed that at length last Friday. But even after, saying that, just thinking on it more, in this team being in the transition that it is, it just doesn't make much sense. But I will give more credence to the Lamar Jackson part of this, because there still is possibility, even though the Titans right now only listed with $7.5 million in cap space, you can still do maneuvering to where you could fit Lamar Jackson under this year's cap, because you can still cut Ryan Tannehill for 18. And again, cutting Henry if you're going to get Lamar Jackson does not make sense to me. Why do you not want them together? Unless if you're just not wanting to compete with Lamar Jackson this year, you're just getting him for the future, which you can do, but I don't know why you do that. While he has a lot of years left, and I guess, that's reason enough, I guess, that just doesn't make sense to me. There at least had to be some incentive for you thinking that you could win this year if you're going to go all out for Lamar Jackson this offseason. So, you'd still cut Tannehill, save $18 million, you have $25 million. You could fit Lamar Jackson under the cap this year easily, because even Deshaun Watson restructured his deal. He's only getting a cap hit of $18 million this year. However, if you do that, what you will then be doing is backloading the contract, and you're going to have more severe cap hits down the road, because now Deshaun Watson has cap hits of $64 million over, I think it's either the next 3 or 4 seasons. It's outrageous. I want to say the next 3 seasons. Yeah. $64 million, and then even the year he's scheduled to become a free agent, he's still going to be a dead cap hit if he leaves them for like $8 or $9 million. It's absolutely absurd. They're just kicking everything under the rug and saying we're going to figure this out later. It's insanity what they're doing with the Deshaun Watson contract, but good luck to him. So, is this possible? Is this likely? I don't think so. I wouldn't hold your breath on this. I still think this is a slightly, and I think now, now that the dust is settling, I think people are now starting to come to grips with the fact that this is a disappointing free agency. And I'm not saying it's terrible. I said the same thing last week. It's medium. It's medium. It's medium. But anyone saying or proclaiming or even indicating that, wow, what a win in free agency for the Titans here. Wow, these are going to be, great contributors for us. You're lying to yourself. We went into free agency, cut it. Bud Dupree, Taylor Lewan, Ben Jones, and who else? Someone else that was significant. Reggie Bullock, and then I think I'm forgetting someone else too that was actually pretty significant to this team. And we signed Andre Dillard, Azeez Al-Shaair, despite losing David Long, you can argue whatever you want on that. That's pretty much a swap. Okay? Pretty much. If you want to, really nitpick that, go ahead. I'll let you waste your time doing that. Also, Andre Dillard is basically a swap for Lewan because while Lewan can't stay healthy, we don't know if Dillard can play in terms of being a potential starter. And at least Lewan, we knew that if he was healthy. But we don't even know that about Dillard. We're just hoping that he is. We don't even know if he's a tackle. He could be a guard, when it's all said and done for us. But we'll see on that. So, yeah, we got Arden Key, who's a swap for DeMarcus Walker. Now, Key has more potential, and I think is a better signing than Walker. So I'll give you that one. But it's still a marginal improvement. It's not significant. It's marginal. You're talking about Daniel. Why do I keep saying, Daniel Brunskill? I kept saying Brandon Drunskill in my previous video. I don't know why. My dyslexia. But yeah, Daniel Brunskill, who is not an improvement over Nate Davis. Okay, less money. Congratulations. He's not an improvement over Nate Davis. So we didn't improve. We slightly improved. We don't know if we improved. And we don't know if we improved. That is signing 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we got Luke Gifford. That is a medium at best free agency. That is a peddling the water. That is a kicking the water. That is a staying afloat free agency. That is treading water free agency. And if you want to argue that's what we had to do because of the cap situation, fine. I'm not even saying that's not the case. But I'm saying, woo! When you look at this roster and there's not enough young talent that's elevating, it's like, yikes. Are we going to improve next season? I mean, first of all, remember, we lost 7 straight games to end the season. And I've been hesitant to say that I think this team could truly tank for Caleb Williams. And until Tannehill and Henry and Byard, I think just Tannehill and Henry, really that combination, are off this team, I still don't think you can do it. At least, at the very least, Tannehill has to be off this team. If he's starting, I still think we win games, unfortunately. For some of us, I don't know. I don't know where you are on the boat yet. I'm still mixed on, I'm leaning tank at this point. I think a lot of us are. So what are we going to do? Because again, guys, it just feels, why are we not making a definitive decision on this? We have to make a definitive decision on this. I think at this point, we're late in the game. There's no other free agent of significance. We couldn't even get Adam Thielen. We couldn't even get McCall Hardman. We couldn't even get some of these wide receivers that I was like, they got 500-600 yards. I mean, you can bring him in here as a wide receiver 3 and see what happens. We didn't even get those guys. DJ Chark is the only name. And Odell, I guess, but ain't no way in hell Odell coming here, so forget about it. And even Odell, I'm not sure now, coming off his injury. So DJ Chark is the only wide receiver that would come in here signing at this point as a wide receiver 3, and I'd be like, oh, pretty good. That's the only one. Everyone else is gone. Maybe Olamide Zacchaeus. I mean, you're talking slim. I think it's only Olamide Zacchaeus and DJ Chark. Everyone is gone. So it appears as if we're ready to tank. But we're not doing the number one thing you gotta do. And that's get Tannehill out of here. Get him out. What is the point in Ryan Tannehill starting for this team in 2023? I need someone to explain this to me, please. I need help here, guys. I need help here. Because it's giving 5, 6, 7 wins. That's what it's giving right now. And that's if we get a stud wide receiver or tackle at 11. And that's if we get a stud tackle or wide receiver at 42. It's giving 5, 6, or 7 wins. That's what it's giving. Whoa, what are we doing? I mean, it's very frustrating. I think you have to make a definitive decision on this. And I'm very interested in Hendon Hooker. I still want to do a deep dive and discuss him at length. Look, I say you get rid of Tannehill, you cut him or release him or trade him outright. You take Hooker in the second, or You do, and at this point, you're even too late in the game for this because even your boy Joshua Dobbs is off the list. Even your boy Joshua Dobbs is now in Cleveland. So what was the plan at the quarterback? Is it just Willis and Tannehill? It's outrageous. I mean, how can you do 2022 all over again with, I'd argue, worse talent? Now, you might be a little healthier. You might be. But you don't have Bud Dupree. You don't have Ben Jones. You don't have Taylor Lewan, who you didn't have last year anyway. You don't have some of these players that were contributing last year. So why is it going to be better? Well, because Burks will be out there. Okay, with who? Because at least you don't have Robert Woods, who he didn't contribute much, but he contributed. The rookie that we draft, I mean, he should have more yards than Robert Woods, but I don't know how much more. I'd like for our rookie wide receiver to have 800-900 yards. Robert Woods had like 500 or like 450. So it's more production. And that's if we draft well. I mean, you could draft a N'Keal Harry who does nothing, which you always have to account for. I mean, we're all assuming that our first round wide receiver or second wide receiver is going to be good. What if he's Justin Hunter? What if he needs a year and even after you give him a year, he's never good? So this is looking bad. I mean, like, guys, this is looking worse and worse. Like, by the day, it's looking worse and worse. And look, I was fine to let free agency play out. It played out. It's over. Like, free agency is literally over. When Odell signs it, he's not signing with us. And then a couple more of these guys go, it's done. Free agency is literally over. So, I mean, there's nothing else to do here. So it's bad. I mean, it really is bad. Like, these are other quarterbacks that you could, potentially sign. Teddy Bridgewater, who, I mean, at this point, he can't even stay healthy as a backup. I mean, my God. Carson Wentz, who's toxic. He's like your toxic ex-boyfriend. He has, trouble staying, out of drama in the locker room and all of that that's going on with him. Carson Wentz is toxic. And that's about it. I mean, there's really no one else. Let me pull up Spot Rack's list here of free agents, quarterbacks, and let's take a good deep dive, because what you should have done is you should have just went in and said, you know what, we're done with this Tannehill thing. Let's give Willis a shot, but let's have him compete against a rookie quarterback or one of these transitionary type quarterbacks. You should have went after Baker Mayfield. You should have went after Taylor Heineke even. But at this point, everyone's gone. Literally everyone's gone. The only names that are left of any interest would be Wentz, Matt Ryan, Teddy Bridgewater, Mason Rudolph, Joe Flacco, Blaine Gabbert, Chase Daniel. And none of these guys are young and you're interested in at all. They're just old, washed-up veterans. None of these guys have any potential at this point. I mean, at least look, and I know Joshua, and I've said this and I'll say it again. Joshua Dobbs has no potential in this league. I'm sorry. I know that's going to disappoint a lot of you Vols fans, but it's the truth. So at this point, even bringing, someone that would have, had some potential to back up Malik in some sort of healthy quarterback or something, it would not even be healthy, but in some sort of bad quarterback competition, just that way we can try out somebody out there would have been interesting. Now it's just going to be Tannehill winning more games for us in 2023 than we want to win. That's where we are now. And now people are starting discussions. Well, we're strapped for cash. What if we extend Tannehill? What if we extend him, restructure him this year to clear a little bit more cap? Why? What's the point, guys? You want to make the wild card? I didn't want to make the wild card last year. I certainly don't want to make it this year if this is what we're trying out there. This team is not going to compete in the playoffs. If we're ranking AFC teams, and let's be honest for a second here. If you're ranking AFC teams, is this team in the top 11? I argue it's in the bottom 5. And by the way, the only team that I can definitively say that I believe next year is going to be worse than our team in the AFC, luckily there's 2 in our division, and the Colts and the Texans. And by the way, it's going to be close because I think the Texans I think they made improvements. I think they're going to be better than us. The Colts, I don't know what they're doing. I mean, they let go of Stephon Gilmore, and look, they need to get younger anyway, so I get that. but they didn't sign anybody, like literally anybody. And I mean, they're probably going to have to end up with Will Levis or Anthony Richardson, and that's going to be an experiment in and of itself. But they do have Jonathan Taylor and Michael Pittman, and they still have their offensive line with Quentin Nelson and Braden Smith. So if a quarterback that they draft can do something, they're going to be right there with us. I think the Texans are now better than us. I actually might have to concede that. We'll see how, because I like DeMeco Ryans as a head coach too. I think that one's going to be dicey. So the only teams I could definitively say that are going to be worse than us, one of the Colts and the Texans, and that's literally it, because the Broncos are going to improve under Sean Payton. The Raiders, we'll see, but they should improve. Well, I think the Raiders might be worse than us because Garoppolo's going to get hurt, and as of this moment, the Raiders do not have a backup quarterback. Now, I assume that will be the rookie that they drafted in the second round, which might be Hendon Hooker. I don't think they're drafting one in the first round right now. But outside of that, guys, who can we definitively? The Steelers are going to be better than us. They're still doing better with Pickett. They had a winning record last year with Pickett. The Browns are going to be better with Deshaun Watson. The Jets are going to be better when they get Aaron Rodgers deal done. The Patriots, I can see the Patriots taking a step back, actually. I could see that. Maybe we compete with the Patriots, but right now we're in the bottom of the barrel in the AFC. I mean, definitively. Now, luckily, we're in the AFC South, which is awful, and maybe you still win this division by default. But this is looking bad. I really want to emphasize this because I think people aren't really understanding. Wait a minute, this is actually looking really bad. Like, it's actually not looking good when you look at the rest of the AFC and how we're stacking up. Luckily, there's some bad teams in the NFC. So, well, I don't know if that's lucky if you're trying to tank for Caleb Williams, and it's not lucky. The Cardinals are still going to stink. We'll see with the Rams if they can have an offensive receiver. We'll see what Stafford does. I think that decision is still up in the air there. I think the Falcons are finally going to be the team that they deserve to be. I think, the same. I think the Panthers are going to stink. I can't believe they won 7 games last year. Wow, they really should have kept Steve Wilkes then if they're going to do that. But we'll see how Frank Reich does. The Bears should improve. We'll see. The Packers, well, I think they're going to struggle under Jordan Love, so they're going to stink, in my opinion, as well. But it's not looking good. So why is he here? So get rid of him. Move on. Why is he here? Why? Why is he here? Doesn't make any sense. So with that said, let's move on to DeAndre Hopkins. And speaking of, this would be just the attempt to win again. Just a game or two more next season. But in order to do this, you have to, because, okay, so I think a trade for DeAndre Hopkins, the Cardinals will take a portion of his dead cap. I don't know how much that's going to be. I don't know. Right now, he's scheduled to count $26 million under the cap. We don't even have the room. We literally don't have the room. So maybe you could convince them to take, all of it. Are they that desperate to move him? I don't think so. So at best, you get them to take 22 or 2019 or 18 million, maybe. If it's that bad, I'm pretty sure someone else is going to trade for him. And if you're needing them to still take on that much of his salary, then why won't they just trade with someone else? Because I'm pretty sure someone else is going to then say, well, you know what, then we'll take him for half the salary and we'll give you a higher pick or maybe a lesser pick, but it's going to be a better deal. I don't think the Cardinals are interested in trading him and having to take a large percentage of his salary. I don't think it's that situation. It doesn't make sense. And then even worse than that, look at this. Look at this active list. This is very important because there are some wide receivers historically that can play very well at age 31, 32, etc. Very much so. But literally last year of active wide receivers, okay, that played, I think the snap minimum here is probably 300 snaps. Here were the oldest wide receivers that were active last season. AJ Green, who's now 34, Julio Jones, 34, Marvin Jones, 33, and then you go to Adam Thielen, 32. So there's no wide receivers that are starting that are, or even close to starting, because none of these guys are, well, I guess Adam Thielen was starting, and maybe Jones was a little bit. But were any of those guys impressive? Green stinks. I don't know why maybe he's retired now. If he's not, he needs to retire today. Julio Jones, he probably needs to retire too because his hamstring just cannot hold up. Jones was fine. He was fine. Thielen was pretty awful. I mean, as Vikings fans, he cannot separate anymore. Then you go Randall Cobb, Marquise Goodwin, Keenan Allen, who's still great, Robert Woods, who we saw be terrible for us, and then DeAndre Hopkins. He is the 1, 2, 3 of the, I just named 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 names. He was the 9th oldest active wide receiver last season. The 9th. Next year he's going to be the 7th or 6th. And the only one of the names that I listed that was actually impressive was Keenan Allen. The only one that was decent was Marvin Jones. Everyone else was pretty awful. Maybe Cobb was okay. Why would you give up draft capital for that? He might still have a couple years left, but considering our position, we're not going to compete. What are we talking about, dear? For what? Look, I know the wide receivers, you look at them and they stink. And you're right. Treylon Burks is the only wide receiver we have. We don't even know if he's going to stay healthy himself. We don't know what he is. We think he might be a number 1. He might be a number 2. We don't know what he is. Kyle Phillips and Racey McMath, will they ever play? Will they ever play? We don't know. So this is where I'm actually going to begin to make the argument that we might need to just say, you know what? We are taking Jackson Smith and Jigba if he's there at 11, point blank period, and that's no matter what. And yes, that is even if Skoronski or Paris Johnson Jr. are there. Because we actually have, while I don't know if he's going to be a great tackle, we have a left tackle in Andre Dillard right now. We do have one. We don't have a wide receiver 2 or 3. And I don't know when we're getting one. Unless if you sign one of these scraps. So I'm actually now arguing. And I don't even want to argue this because I don't have much faith in Dillard. I think he'll be fine, but I don't know. I have no idea. But especially depending on what you want this team to be in the future. Now, also, we could be so bad next year we could be in the hunt for Marvin Harrison Jr. And I would be in for that. I would be down for that. But I thought we wanted to take Caleb Williams. So when are you going to take Caleb? Well, you can't take Williams and Harrison unless if you do some crazy finagling. I don't know how it's not possible. Even if Harrison tears his ACL, even if he tears his Achilles, you ain't getting both. And who are the other top wide receivers next year? Let me go ahead and just do a sneak peek of that. I think, like, off the top of my head, I don't watch that much college football outside of, like, the draft. On Saturdays, I'm usually, like, I don't know, busy doing, I mean, I watch, but, like, I'm not, like, you know, really familiar with, like, all the players until they're draft eligible. Other wide receivers, Emeka Egbuka from Ohio State. Yeah, he's going to be really good. Xavier Worthy from Texas. There's not many. Troy Franklin from Oregon. Okay, so next year's wide receiver class is better than this one with Egbuka and Harrison Smith Jr. Both Ohio State, by the way. That's kind of crazy. But it's not like, as of right now, that it's looking great either. Now, by the time we get there, who knows, it could look a lot better. Mario Williams Jr., USC, and then also Rome Odunze from Washington. Okay, it looks fine, but maybe this isn't the wide receiver class that you want to bet on either. So, you know, it's interesting. So I'm going to begin to argue, you know what? Jackson Smith and Jigba is a great route runner. You can absolutely use him in the slot. I'm fine with him being a slot because we have Burks outside. Get someone else. He's going to be productive in the slot. Larry Fitzgerald was a slot wide receiver. I know people are forgetting Larry Fitzgerald was a slot wide receiver. Wes Welker, slot wide receiver. And people are saying he's Larry Fitzgerald in terms of route running is faster than Larry Fitzgerald. And I know it would not be pretty this year because, you know, you'd be looking at a situation where Tannehill is going to get crushed and it's going to be unfortunate, but he'll be fine because I don't care about him anyway. He ain't the future anyway. So go ahead and take your Jackson Smith and Jigba. Second round, take your tackle because I don't know, and I want to do more, analysis on this. I don't know about any of these second round wide receivers right now, but I know about Jackson Smith and Jigba. Some of these tackles I'm interested in the second round. DeJuan Jones looks like a right tackle. He's been playing right tackle, so maybe that one you're not sure about. But, people have been talking about taking Dewan Jones or Darnell Wright at offensive tackle in the second round, moving Nicholas Petritford to guard. Boom. Now, you still need Dillard to be your left tackle. If he's not, next year you go get your left tackle in the second round after hopefully getting Caleb Williams or Drake May in the first. But I think when you're looking at this franchise, I think this year is looking more and more like a tanking year. I think you're looking at first round, second round this year, and first round, second round next year. You got to take a tackle and a wide receiver, a quarterback, and you got to take a tackle and a quarterback. You got to take these three positions. You got to take a quarterback, a tackle, and a wide receiver. We need all three. We need them bad. And you got to find the best permutation of that. To me, it's looking like maybe more and more it's Jackson Smith-Njigba, the best wide receiver in this class, and we know that. Or you could, again, if we get Paris Johnson Jr. or Skoronski, it's fine. I'm not going to complain. It's still good. I'm just saying I don't know when we're going to get that wide receiver. You're going to take a chance on one of these ones in the second round, and I don't know about them. I feel more comfortable with the tackles in the second round than I do the wide receivers at this point. I think it's a crapshoot. Could be Jalen Hyatt. Could be Rashee Rice. Could be Jordan Addison. Could be this guy. I don't know if Addison's going to fall that far, but there's a lot of options here. It's a lot of ambiguity. Are any of these guys number one wide receivers? None of them look like number one wide receivers. I mean, people are arguing Jackson Smith-Njigba isn't a number one, but I think he's going to put up good numbers, Cooper Kupp numbers, or maybe not that high, but he could have a trajectory like a Cooper Kupp and end up being that type of wide receiver. Maybe not, break records, but maybe. So I'm thinking maybe that's a better route. And then you see this year, if Dillard can be your left tackle, you signed him to $9 million a year. I didn't think you did that to play him at guard. So play him at tackle then. You signed him. If you didn't want him, why'd you sign him? So you signed him for this $9 million. Trot him out there at left tackle. Draft another tackle in the second round anyway. And then if you have to double up next year, double up and take another tackle in the second round next year. But I feel like Jackson, I feel like I trust him. I like this guy. And I feel like, okay, at least we'll have our two wide receivers and Burks and Jackson Smith-Njigba, and we'll figure the rest out. Are their stats going to look this good this year? No, because the quarterbacks aren't very good and the offensive line won't be either. But at least we'll have those pieces in place for the next quarterback of this franchise. So that's what I'm thinking. But for sure, at the meantime, wow, this is looking very mediocre, very boring of an offseason, and we're going to have to find out how this goes. So with that said, those are my thoughts on the rumors of Lamar Jackson and the DeAndre Hopkins rumors. What are your thoughts? Comment down below. I want to know if you enjoyed the video. Make sure to like, comment, and most importantly, to subscribe. Until next time, I'm out. See you all later.